We all heard about Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and many others having an impact on all of our lives, but very rarely do we hear about the man who arguably had the biggest impact on us all. It is likely that his work has saved more lives worldwide than any other person in history. But what drove him to test his discovery on his own daughter? And what role did he play in the spread of a mysterious monkey virus known as SV40? Maurice Ralph Hilleman was born on August 30th, 1919, in Miles City, Montana, a city with its Old West heritage. Walking down Main Street feels like stepping back in time with its historic buildings and Western-themed storefronts. Hilleman faced a challenging start. His mother died 2 days after his birth, and his twin sister was stillborn. He was raised by his uncle while his father struggled to provide for his 8 children under the harsh circumstances on their family farm. Despite these early challenges, Hilleman graduated from high school in 1937 in the midst of the Great Depression. Inspired by an older brother studying at a divinity school, Hilleman applied for and won a full scholarship to Montana State University, where he graduated first in his class at the age of 21 with a joint degree in chemistry and microbiology. He received his PhD in 1944 with an award-winning dissertation on chlamydia, which was then thought to be a virus but is now known to be a bacterium. At that time, accurately identifying different types of bacteria or viruses wasn't possible. However, Hilleman developed techniques by immunizing animals with various virus samples and studying how the antibodies reacted to different antigens. After graduating, Hilleman elected to work in the pharmaceutical industry. He took a position in the well-established E.R. Squibb and Sons Pharmaceutical Company. It was founded in 1858 by Dr. Edward Robinson Squibb, a pioneering American chemist and physician. Dr. Squibb was dedicated to producing high-quality, pure medicines and was known for his commitment to public health and safety. He immediately started researching vaccine development and working on his first vaccine. Vaccines work by training your body's immune system to recognize and fight specific germs, such as viruses or bacteria, without actually causing the disease. A vaccine contains a weakened or inactive part of a germ that doesn't cause disease. When vaccinated, your immune system treats this harmless part as a threat and responds by making antibodies as well as memory cells that remember the germ. If you're exposed to the actual germ in the future, your immune system can quickly produce the right antibodies and memory cells to fight it off, preventing you from getting sick or reducing the severity of the illness. The first ever vaccine was developed by Edward Jenner in 1796. He created a vaccine for smallpox, a deadly and widespread disease at the time. Jenner noticed that milkmaids who had previously caught cowpox did not catch smallpox. He took material from a cowpox sore on a milkmaid's hand and inoculated it into an 8-year-old boy, James Phipps. The boy developed a mild case of cowpox. Later, when Jenner exposed the boy to smallpox, he did not get sick, proving that the cowpox infection had made him immune to smallpox. This method laid the foundation for modern immunology and the development of other vaccines. Jenner's work demonstrated that exposure to a less dangerous virus could provide protection against a more deadly one. Hilleman's first successfully developed vaccine was against Japanese bee encephalitis, which is a viral disease transmitted by mosquitoes and is prevalent in many parts of Asia. It was urgently needed to immunize troops at the Pacific Front of World War II. With the invasion happening in summer, the amount of infected mosquitoes was on the rise, so the vaccine was desperately needed. In 1949, Dr. Hilleman became the chief of respiratory diseases at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in Washington, D.C. His project was to study the influenza virus. H1N1 influenza A version of the virus is what caused the deadliest pandemic in modern history. You guessed it, it's the Spanish flu. It is thought to have infected a third of the world's population and killed at least 50 million people, making it history's most deadly event. Hilleman made discoveries critical to our understanding of influenza. He observed that the influenza virus underwent changes. Sometimes the changes were small, but other times they could be dramatic. The small changes became known as antigenic drift, and the sudden major changes became known as antigenic shift. Antigenic shift can result in pandemics because almost no one in the world is immune to the significantly changed virus. Hilleman realized in 1957 that an influenza pandemic had started in Hong Kong. He was the first person in history to predict a pandemic. The result was that he created a vaccine before the virus arrived to the United States. Regardless of this, between 70,000 and 116,000 deaths occurred as a result of the virus. Public health officials estimate that the number of deaths in the US could have reached 1 million had Hilleman's vaccine not been available. For this effort, he was awarded the Distinguished Service Medal from the American military. At the end of 1957, shortly after his daughter Gerald Lynn was born, Hilleman began working for Merck & Company to oversee their vaccine research and development. He remained at Merck for the rest of his career. While working there, Hilleman developed vaccines to protect us from chickenpox, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, pneumococcus, meningococcus, measles, mumps, and rubella. He was also the first person to combine vaccines when he created the MMR vaccine. With one shot, children could be protected against 3 diseases: measles, mumps, and rubella, which is what the MMR name stands for. This vaccine is most likely what Hilleman is best known for developing. After all, it has become a staple of childhood immunization programs worldwide. The story of the mumps vaccine is unique because Hilleman isolated the virus from his daughter, Gerald Lynn, when she contracted mumps in 1963. Isolating a virus means obtaining a pure sample of the virus from an infected individual or environment. Mumps is a contagious viral disease caused by the mumps virus. It primarily affects the salivary glands, which are located below and in front of the ears. It can lead to swelling and pain. By weakening the mumps virus he had obtained from Gerald Lynn, he was able to make a safe and effective mumps vaccine. The same strain of mumps virus is used to make the mumps vaccine today. It is called the Gerald Lynn strain. His work was also met with some controversies along the way. One of the most significant ones surrounding Hilleman's work involved the discovery of simian virus 40 in polio vaccines developed in the 1950s. While working at Merck, Hilleman discovered that the cells used to produce polio vaccines were contaminated with a monkey virus called simian virus 40 or SV40. At the time, it was unknown whether SV40 could harm people, but some studies had suggested it could be linked to cancer. Faced with the ethical conundrum of whether to keep making a vaccine that was preventing children from getting polio or halt the effort until it could be determined whether the contaminating virus posed a risk of cancer, Hilleman quickly convinced the company to stop making the vaccine. Ultimately, SV40 was found not to cause cancer, but the experience made all vaccine researchers aware of the potential for contaminants and the need to ensure that moving forward, vaccines would not introduce other potential pathogens. When faced with a dilemma, it's nice to see researchers such as Hilleman taking the cautious side. Throughout his career, he did his best to spread best practices and advocated strongly for vaccine safety and efficacy. Hilleman retired from Merck in 1984 at the age of 65, as this was the retirement age mandated by company rules. In the years after his retirement, he continued to contribute to science as a consultant and mentor to those still working to stop infectious diseases from harming or killing people around the world. For example, during his retirement time, Hilleman served as an advisor to the World Health Organization. Throughout his career, Hilleman published more than 200 scientific papers and received numerous awards and honors. In 1988, President Ronald Reagan awarded him the National Medal of Science, the highest science award given in the US. Hilleman's career spanned over 50 years of dedicated research and innovation in vaccinology, beginning with his early work on chlamydia in the 1940s and continuing until his passing in 2005. Maurice Hilleman, though primarily known for his serious contributions to vaccinology, had some interesting and lighter aspects to his personality and life. He was known for injecting wit into his talks, which helped lighten the atmosphere in scientific circles. Outside of his scientific pursuits, Hilleman had a passion for Western movies and literature. He enjoyed watching classic Westerns and occasionally incorporated references to them in conversations. He was famously meticulous about counting the number of vaccines he developed. He kept a running tally and often joked about aiming for a world record in vaccine creation. His daughter, Gerald Lynn Hilleman, even said he carried around a list at times, the list of diseases that had yet to be conquered, and I think it was a reminder that for him, his work would never be done. His work is estimated to save about 8 million lives every year. He is credited with saving more lives than any other medical scientist in the last 100 years. There is also a book about his life called Vaccinated, One Man's Quest to Defeat the World's Deadliest Diseases, and a movie, Hilleman, a perilous quest to save the world's children. If you want to learn more about this topic. If you enjoyed this video, we would be really grateful if you subscribed, and feel free to watch another one.